Hi guys, how are you doing? Hope you're having a great day. Just a quick one. Been kind of sitting back and watching what's been going on in the true crime community, even though it's not a true crime community, it's this sort of miniature dirt wars community now. So most videos are made about other creators because there's such a big issue. I'm sure it's different than it was. There's such a big issue going on of people fighting in this community, and how did that start? Well, I think I know where it started, but how? And what for? It's just so interesting. I've been watching, there's lots of sort of phone-ins now, and people have their little picture up rather than making a video with their face on camera. And so they can get, guests on and all that kind of stuff, which is great. It's really good. It's like listening to a podcast. And been listening to a lot of those, and then people sort of saying, oh, they don't know why this is happening, and so said this, and he said that, and then they took a screenshot of this, and then they go make a video about the screenshot, and then nobody said that because nobody had proof, and it's this whole proof thing again. So there's all these issues going on about people fighting and what people did or didn't say or did or didn't do. And it's kind of crossed over into the personal, apparently. People are going into people's personal lives, calling them, trying to get hold of them, trying to get through the YouTube algorithm into their real life. And this is not the video I meant about before. This is what I meant about in the video before, that YouTube isn't real because it can't be. It's not allowed to be. There's a code, an unspoken code. And then that you don't go into people's personal, that you don't, unless that's your channel, you don't want to reveal too much because you're laying yourself open to the whole wide world and whatever and whoever may be in it. So you've got to protect yourself to a certain extent. And so when someone crosses that, contacts your family or contacts your children, or it's very, very creepy, very disturbing, very invasive. And it's happening a lot. And it's happening within a certain group of people. And but yet it's interesting that, and I've got to say this, that it's mostly the women that are behaving in a way that's very inappropriate for other women, to other women. And so that's what's interesting me. And I've noticed that the people that are complaining and going on others' chats, etc., have a picture, but I know for a fact that that picture is not them. And I also know for a fact that they're talking about how so-and-so has done this to them, but I know for a fact that these women have sent abuse to me regularly, and very damning abuse, and ridiculed me, found out things about me that they think is true. They're constantly putting up porn sites, they're doing privacy strikes, doing anything they can to try and get to me. I don't know why, because I've nothing to do with that. I only make videos about Alan, as I've said before, and crime before Alan. Because criminals fascinate me, right? That's what this channel was intended to be about. And I see what Alan Vinicum has done as being on that verge. So that's why I made videos about him. And I kind of got caught in the middle of what's going on. And I don't know whether people are doing it because they want validation. So if all of this bitching, and it is mostly bitching, and it is mostly women doing the bitching, all this stuff about what people look like, all this stuff about sexualizing women and somehow using that as a weapon, saying this he said, she said, going out there to invade people or ruin people or talk about people, if you just stopped doing that, what would happen? What would happen? Would it be good? Would it be weird? So if people stopped trying to get on about other people's channels and other women's channels, or if you stop putting fake pictures up and finding different avatars and then leaving very destructive comments on people's channels, if you stop doing that, if everyone stopped doing that in this community, what would happen? I think it would be amazing. It would all stop. But for some reason, people can't stop. And I do understand where that comes from, which is that, none of us want to be annihilated. And once someone says a comment that we find annihilates our sense of self, we want to speak up because we're adults, supposedly. But this isn't being done in an adult way in this community. On YouTube, hiding behind a different picture to who you are, pretending you're that person, and then trying to annihilate someone else, at the same time feeling very threatened by others. It's a domino effect that's happening here. It's a massive, big knot, a tangled, gnarly knot of fear, insecurity, nastiness, bitchiness, and blackness. Right? And we all have that blackness inside of us, but every single one of these people involved in this knot, this tangled knot, I know have good parts about them. There are parents, there are people who dance, there are people who self-express in that way. Whether you're dependent on alcohol or drugs, that doesn't determine you. It's part of you, but it's not the whole of you. There are so many different parts of us. What happens if we embrace that rather than this gnarly knot of useless poison that's like hanging in the air? What happens if we try to dispel that a little bit? Would it be less fun? Would you have less fun not being able to slag people off? Is it part of you that you need an outlet for? And especially I get really, really sad when I see women doing it to other women. Because we have a duty in this day and age to look back at what our mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers did beyond that. To get us where we are today, to get the vote, to get us to not be subhumans, to get us to be as equal as we've got right now. We're not fully the way there, and yet what we do is we go back and start flogging other women again, stoning other women, judging other women. And today, in this day and age, when you talk about a woman's looks, it only looks bad on you because it's easy, it's petty, and it's very, very dated. So this is what makes me sad. When women are doing it to other women, what does it make us look like? When you're slagging off a woman, and I hate that expression because I hate the word slag. What is that? It's dated in itself. If you're bitching about another woman, if you're talking in a derogative way about another woman, what does that make you? And if you find that fun and that sport for you, again, what does that make you? If that's your sport, what if you stopped? What if you stopped doing that? And as women, we had some self-respect and showed ourselves to be worthy of how far we've come. Because this is awful, because we're actually annihilating ourselves. Why would, as women, we want to just speak in a derogative way about another? Why is someone's body your business? Why would you make a video to the world having a go at someone's body, the way they look, them as a woman? Why? Where does that come from? And why is this community doing it? It makes me really sad. It's fascinating, but God, it's pitiful. I mean, it never ends. It's like as soon as people don't feel good, they then have to go online and absolutely rip the crap out of another person. Then a fight starts, then other people get dragged into, again, this big, gnarly knot that's not real. It's YouTube real, but you have a life beyond that. There are good bits to everybody. Why can't we show those? Why can't we make videos about those? Why would one person put up a really horrific comment about another person unless that video was really, really destructive and causing absolute destruction in the world? I'm rambling now, but you know what I mean. I'm so disappointed in the women of this community in YouTube. it's a real disappointment for me, because it's not a community